what I want to talk about today is flipping mainly. I want to say I've done it all because I feel like there's probably 100 ways to enter and exit a real estate deal. But I've done wholesaling, I've done owner financing, I've done subject to, I've done rent to own, I've done land leases, flipping, holding, own Airbnbs, midterm and short term. Actually, the main thing I do is private money lending myself. So I've dabbled in just about all of the main ones. I won't say all of them, but probably the main ones. Private money lending is probably my favorite, but we don't all start there, right? That takes years of building capital to do that. But buying flips, just like this app will help you, analyze, is exactly how I started building my real estate portfolio and my capital in order to get to the stage I am at now. Desktop share. And there's my beautiful daughter who we adopted 3 years ago now, and she'll turn 6 soon. Crazy. Sorry, I get my PowerPoint here and play from the start. It's actually one of the houses we flipped right here. Funny enough, this was a YouTube thumbnail of a video that ended up getting like 200 or 300,000 views. So I'm partial to this little before and after right here. Fun story on this one. We bought it from a foreclosure auction, and the person squatting was a foreclosure auction lawyer. Ironic, I know, but unfortunate for us, he knew every single loophole and extension known to man, and he squatted successfully for over a year. And he finished off by, I wish I had better pictures here, but he finished off by letting his two German Shepherds and one Rottweiler live in the house by themselves for the last 2 weeks. So you can only imagine what that looked like. He did come and feed them by dumping food on the floor, but that's what we ended up getting. But we turned it into something lovely, as you see here on the right, and we still made a profit on it because we did our numbers right and accounted for contingencies. So I've done over 300 flips. This is actually closer to maybe even 400 now because this slideshow is a little bit older, or this part of it is. Every single one of these behind you, I've actually not only flipped, but I've been I've funded with my own money. So first thing you got to do is find your buy box. So you got to choose a market. Ideally for most of you, this would be in your own market. But if you're calling in from or watching from Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York City, and you're just starting out and you didn't come from money, much like I didn't, those markets, unless you have access to an extreme amount of financing, those markets are going to probably be too expensive for you to get started in, and you certainly will be harder to find cash flow. So you got to find a market which works for your budget and the strategy in which you would like to use. And I always say be open-minded in your strategy. Just because your heart's set on flipping doesn't mean that you come across a property that's not good to rent or wholesale or any of the above. But choose a market, have a strategy in mind so you at least know what you're looking for and how you should crunch your numbers. Next is choose your budget, which I just mentioned. If you got $100,000 and you have access to no other financing, you're not able to get approved elsewhere yet, Backflip isn't able to help you out at this current stage for whatever reason. If you got $100,000, well, then you need to shop for houses where $100,000 will either get you in the door down payment or will buy the entire deal. If you're in California, you might be like rolling your eyes for 100 grand, but we buy properties literally every single month here for less than $20,000-$30,000 in my market. So it does exist, and you can buy, flip an entire property for less than that and make a profit. I can show you several of those. Choose a project type. Again, this is not required, but are you looking for flips? Are you looking for wholesales? And then again, are you looking for single family, multifamily, commercial? What are you looking for? If you don't have any idea, you're going to kind of be fumbling and bumbling. So try to narrow it down. And what I mean by being able to pivot is just at least understand the other strategies. That way, if a deal comes across your plate that can't fit the main strategy, that doesn't mean it's not a good wholesale, and you might just be passing up a quick 20 grand just because you don't know how to wholesale it. So just be a little educated in all of those. And expected return. So the national average is around $30,000. Okay. So when you watch all these fix and flip shows, or you watch these gurus on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're watching them, TikTok, and they're pulling down $150,000 or $200,000, two things to that. One, that's possible. It is definitely possible to profit that. That is not your average and is not typical. And two, the checks you're seeing are usually the entire gross return on that property, not including paying back the loan and the investor. So for example, if I get a closing check at, and this is just some education, I guess, but if I got a closing check and posted it for 215,000, but I owe my lender, my borrower, I mean, my lender, if I owe my lender 200 grand, well, I've really only made 15, but I could show you a check for 215 that says proceeds on it all day long. What they're not telling you, or they're not showing you, is 200 of that has to actually go back to the lender in the first place. So just be careful out there. Choosing a market. The best case scenario, your buy box will be your local area. You already know the people. You already know the popular areas, and you're most likely to have connections in place already. Friends, family, contractors, whatever. Ideally, it's right in your backyard. If not, go to where you have a network. So maybe you have a brother that lives in a lower cost of living area like Cleveland, Ohio. Maybe you have a contractor out there. Maybe you have just any type of colleague, or maybe you travel that way often, or that's where you used to live and grew up. Those markets are better. If you already have a network in place, it's a little bit easier, but you don't have to have it. You can develop it, but obviously knowing some people gets you off the ground a little bit faster. The Google is your friend to help you choose a market. So always cross-reference. So every single time I've ever made this, done the slideshow or did a presentation like this, the top 5 areas to buy fix and flip or to buy discounted real estate has changed almost every time. Although I will say in the last year or two, Cleveland has always came up, Jacksonville has always came up, and Fayetteville, where I am heavily invested, has came up. So in those markets I can tell you that Fayetteville is doing extremely well for myself and my partners. I just funded 6 more deals in that area over the last 2 weeks, actually. So we're moving fast down there, and they're selling quickly, which might be even more important. Secure financing. Okay, so I say, all that sounds fun and great, John. I found a property and all that, but I am limited on my cash or how I can finance it. Where can I find more money? So there's multiple ways to do this. You can go to the bank, right? Not typically for a fix and flip. I would almost say not ever for a fix and flip, unless maybe the loan officer. Then you can go, but you can't go to bank financing to put a down payment on a moderate rehab or a light rehab, or to buy a second home to flip or something like that. So banks are possible. Just understand every single one of these has a pro and con. And usually it's a mix between how much you're willing to pay for the money and how fast do you want it. And then obviously how you qualify. So bank financing, everybody knows what that is. Hard money. Most of you know what that is. Private money, that's me. So I do a lot of private money lending. Private money is not to be confused with like hard money or other commercial lenders. It's private money should be defined as coming from that individual's pockets. And so that's kind of how you differentiate the two. A HELOC, you can borrow against your home equity line of credit. With all of this, understand the pros and cons and the risk involved. Owner financing, partner with the owner. So this is where you don't have to bring, maybe the owner of the flip owns it free and clear, right? So they don't have a mortgage. And so they want 40 grand for it, but you can't pay them 40 grand up front because all you have enough is for the rehab of 40 grand. So 80 all in. And you want to buy it and fix it and flip it, but you only have 40. Well, you tell that owner, leave the $40,000 in place, the asset, the house. I'll bring the 40 to rehab it, and you get documents in place for all of this. And now you're in that deal for 80, but only 40 of your own money, and you guys split the profit. Now you just got a flip that you otherwise wouldn't have because you thought of an interesting way to go about it. The 203K loan, these are overly complicated in my opinion, and we've done some for people buying flips off of us. Never again will we go through that process, but it is a way for if you're a buyer to go through it. Just understand, again, pros and cons to everything. 203K loans work. They're basically where they will let you buy a flip to live in, not like the flip to profit, but buy a house to live in that needs lots of work. They'll finance the deal and then later roll the rehab costs into the one loan. Don't know if I'm explaining that the best, but just understand it allows you to buy distressed property through the bank, but with a lot of inspections and draws and there's a lot more to it. And then last but not least, we're not going to forget backflip, right? And I'm not just saying it because we're on here. They are an excellent program. You can just see by the app how quick and easy it can be to find financing, especially because you're not just emailing them your evaluation of the deal. Backflip's literally going to let you email the deal they've just evaluated right to them. They can pull them out of your emails too, but what's nice is they don't have to second guess you because it's coming from their app, if that makes sense. So it's another great source, and it's a click of a button. Finding the deals. MLS. So this is typically through a realtor. This is how 95% of people find the home they want to live in to buy. This is going to have pros and cons. It's easy. You can just look it up. You can have your realtor to look it up. But if you know about the deal, or if your realtor knows about the deal, if the MLS knows about the deal, everyone knows about your deal. Not saying you can't find a deal in the MLS. Just understand the amount of people that are looking at that deal too. So typically, it's not going to be the cheapest way to find a deal. Next one is wholesalers. So you can build a list of people that are already out there looking for distressed properties and broken down properties. Let them go do all the running, and you pay them a lump sum fee. Average wholesale deal, 5, 10, 15, 20 grand, depending on your market. You'll pay them that to save you time, because now you're not out running looking for the deals. You're letting someone else do it, and they're saving you the time. Driving for dollars. I will add, wholesalers are really hard to find, but if you find a good one that really understands comps, ARV, and repair value, and the cost of repairs, actually understands it and isn't just guessing, hold on tight and pay them their value. Driving for dollars. This is where you yourself go out driving around. Call it driving for dollars, because you're just going to drive around neighborhoods, look for properties, take down the address, skip trace them, aka look up who the owners are, their services for this, and get their information that way. So that way you can do what the wholesalers do. Essentially, you'll save money, right? But you're going to lose time. So if you don't have much money, you're driving for dollars. If you have a lot of money to get started in the game, maybe you're going through wholesalers. Or maybe you're going to do something like mailers or Facebook ads. So mailers, you're just sending out a ton of mail. This is not cheap, but it is effective. You're just going to send out a ton of mail to targeted houses, and there's software like PropStream that does this. Does Backflip do any of this right now, Mariah? Help you source deals?
Yeah, twofold. One is, like I said, connection. It's called My Leads, so you can connect your email. And then the second one is driving for dollars. It's a really cool feature. Like, you use the camera and it picks up the address and will show you an analyzed property right on the spot.
There you go. So go ahead and delete PropStream off here and just go straight through Backflip. PropStream's a software I've used in the past. I don't even know if they're still around, but sounds like you guys are already doing the fact that you can take pictures of it. And it helps you with the driving for dollars. And now you don't have to carry a whole spreadsheet and 100 photos with you. And then there's mailers that, like we just discussed. Facebook ads is another great way. That's how we target our leads right now in Charleston, West Virginia. And we target to do 50 deals a year. And so 98% come through Facebook leads or word of mouth. And so we're just constantly paying the Facebook algorithm to run a video or a set of ads to markets that we want to buy in. Networking, go to meetup.com and find meetups in your area. Don't just go to the meeting and sit there. Shake hands, get your name out there, bring some business cards. Even if you don't have a business yet, your name and number on the business cards enough. And then foreclosures, we do buy a bunch of foreclosure auctions. Just understand some of these have much higher risk than others. So foreclosures, a lot of times you have to buy them sight unseen, and so you don't know what you're getting on the inside. I'll give you we bought a lot. Okay, so out of the 50 we buy, maybe we're buying 20 foreclosures, okay, a year. So we've been through a lot. The foreclosure I just told you was a bad story, but I got another one real quick. Just fun story. Not fun for us, but maybe fun for you guys. We bought a house in 2022. I knocked on the door. The guy came out. He was very hostile. I knew to take another step back, keep my hands available and all that. I've done this plenty of times. I take protection with you, or take someone with you so you are protected, whatever you want to do there to protect yourself. But anyway, maybe pay a third party. Maybe what I do is not smart. But anyway, came out and he said he was a sovereign citizen. Sovereign citizens believe that they are above the law, that the current laws do not apply to them, and that he said that the auction was fake, the foreclosure was fake, the bank was fake, and his social security number makes him worth over $1 billion, and the house is his. It's an exact conversation. So there's not much I can do with that. So I said, no, here's the paperwork. This is where we bought it. We'll give you cash with keys. If you leave within 30 days, we'll give you $1,500. About the best we could do for him. He basically said, get the F off his lawn, and the rest was history. Well, that sovereign citizen thing actually got him all the way to federal court, where federal court threw it out, but it took 2 years to do that. So he has to leave in 2 weeks. He's going to be thrown out by the local authorities he has a right to leave or be taken out. I want to let you guys know that risk reward with foreclosures. Yeah, every once in a while we buy one for 50 grand. It's broom swept. We put it back on the market and we sell it for 80 or 100 and we make 20, 30, 40 grand for doing nothing to it. And then sometimes we have that house for 2 years. On that particular house, we borrowed equity financing. That means the lender only makes money if we make money on it. But imagine if you had borrowed 12, 14, 16% interest and had to sit on it for 2 years. Be careful. Make offers, a lot of them. That's how you find it. So all that brings you leads, right? Well, now you got to make offers. You don't need all the numbers figured out to make an offer. In fact, you'll waste a lot of time if you crunch every number before making an offer. Make sure that you and the seller are in the same ballpark and make your offer contingent on inspection and or financing. So what this means is, like, if a deal comes across your plate, like Mariah just did on that one deal, I think it was listed at 221 and she put in 199 to make the numbers look good. And that's ideal. That's what you want to do. But if 199 is what you want to pay and 220 or 240 is where the seller is off of a phone call, it doesn't mean throw that lead away, but that's going to take some work before going and inspecting it. Why, if they're not going to budge off 240 and you have to be at 199, why spend 3 hours on numbers and crunching numbers and going there to inspect it if you guys aren't even in the same ballpark? I like to argue get in the same ballpark with your numbers first before you go do that. Then after inspection, start your negotiation and all that. A standard purchase contract for your state will do. Don't overthink this. The attorney and realtor are going to put a legitimate contract together anyways. I've seen so many people find a deal, have a deal, and they've got a seller agree to the deal, and then they miss the deal or get hung up on the contract. Rocket Lawyer is your friend. Mariah, do you guys provide contracts yet?
Contract shit. Do you mean like rehab stuff?
Like, do y'all have a service where you can download a contract for a purchase and sale agreement between people?
Oh, no, we don't have that.
Okay, so then I didn't. I was going to pitch you again if you had it, so that's okay. Maybe some feedback there.
Yeah,
But
I love that.
quick, that way if you find a deal, you can just go in the app and download the contract, get it signed. But Rocket Lawyer's your friend, or you can write it up on a napkin, get it to the lawyer. The lawyer's going to put it together for your state. You both sign that, and you got a ratified contract. You're good to go. Inspection and rehab budget. This is the hardest part for most. So where I start as a friend or family member with a general contractor's license. If you're that lucky, then awesome. You just have them help you out. Use software such as Rehab Evaluator. Mariah, if it's not a conflict of interest, I have a link for that to get you guys a free 30-day trials. It's the software that we use to evaluate and track every single one of our properties from the time we purchase to the time we close it. It's an excellent piece of software. We've used it for years, and again, it just helps you with this process. Get quotes from contractors, at least 3. So if you need windows on that job, get 3 different window people out there to look at it. Cheapest isn't always the best, obviously. Most expensive, not always the best. Find a happy medium. If they don't show up on time or give you a quote in a reasonable amount of time, see you later. That's my policy. Pay a contractor. So this way, if you know a contractor in your area, sure, they might come evaluate your first couple flips or potential flips or properties for free in hopes that they get the job. But if you call them the 3rd or 4th time and you haven't given them the job yet, they're probably going to tell you to kick rocks because you're wasting their time. And that might happen. You might look at 30 properties before you actually close on one. Keep in mind, that's a realistic situation. It's not go look at 3 properties, make an offer, get a property. It's a numbers game. So you could pay that contractor maybe $200 a deal, $300 a deal to go walk through it and give you accurate numbers. And then now you have a good basis for what your budget would be to help you with your offer and locking in your contract. Find a project manager. Again, this would be somebody probably on salary. So again, you're going to have some money or some startup costs for this, or be making money already. But ideally, you would get to find a project manager that has a GC license or has experience in doing a budget. Partner with someone who can do the work. This is my skill, or this is not my skill, but like my strategy. I'm really good at numbers and tracking numbers and raising money and just knowing where every single cent is. And that's my skill set, right? Money management's my skill set. I don't know how to rehab a house. Full disclosure, done over 350 of them with partners. Okay. I partner with people who know how to do the work. I'm good at what I do. They're good at what they do, and we partner. Do I have to give up profit for that? Absolutely. But I'll take 50% or 30% of profit versus 100% of no profit. So that means you're not doing deals, right? And then book on estimating cost, the book on estimating rehab costs by Jason Scott. It's on Amazon. He put a book together to help you figure this out. Managing contractors, super important. Make sure they're all licensed with proof of insurance. Yes, you can get a better deal. And most of you are going to start this way, no matter how much I tell you not to. You're going to get Joe Schmo and the guy off Craigslist and the guy off Facebook because they can do it for $200 versus the guy that can do it for $800. Fair. Have I done it? Yes. Is it a huge gamble? Absolutely. If that person falls off your roof, you're responsible. If that person starts a fire in the unit and causes harm or bodily injury or worst case death, that's your fault. It's up to you to make sure they're licensed and insured, not the contractor. A little bit backwards, right? But you're the one hiring them. They put you put you as responsible. Is that true for every state? I'm not sure, but I know in our state, you're supposed to do your due diligence and make sure they have license and proof insurance. So we make them fill out a contractor packet, which is, I skipped ahead there, but everybody has to send out a contractor packet, fully filled out, proof of license, proof of insurance, routing and account number to get paid. And a W9, I believe. Yes, yeah, there you go. I'm skipping all over the place. I warned you, Mariah, this is what I do. A W9 to have all that on file before they can get paid. You can invoice all you want. You're not getting $1 until we have all this in our hand. Another word of caution here: if you don't have the W9, so you're not you can't 1099 them at the end of the year, which means you couldn't issue them at 1099 because maybe they're not working anymore, or they don't want it because they don't want to get taxed on it. Guess who's technically responsible for the taxes on their work? You are, the business. That's crazy, right? But it's true. Contract with timelines and penalties. I could dive into a contract for an hour, so we're not going to spend time on that. But all that should be in place. Selling the project. You can use a realtor. Best for most of you guys. Yes, you can save money by not using a realtor, although I don't know anymore with this new NAR thing. Using a realtor to sell your property is best for most. They do all the negotiation, the paperwork, all the stuff, so you're not on the phone taking all these offers and showing the property and all that. If you want to make more on the back end and you're confident it will sell, do a for sale by owner. Here's my strategy. Back when I had a little bit more time, we would finish a house, and if I was like, that's a good deal, that the house is going to sell, we don't even need a realtor, I'd put a for sale by owner sign in the thing and host a open house for one weekend. If I could sell it in one weekend, I would save roughly $5,000 to $20,000 off the realtor, right? So it was worth the deal for me to try that if I could sell it in one weekend. If it did not sell after the weekend, or I didn't have any promising offers or interest, turn it over to a realtor. You get the best of both worlds and you lose a week on the market. Understand that this is just sitting in a 2-hour, 4-hour open house on the weekend weighs on you. We were doing, we're listing for sale 25 to 50 properties. I don't have the time to do it anymore, but you could make a significant amount more over the realtor if you have the time. Signage, always have a sign up at the house you're rehabbing during rehab, especially if you intend to sell it or even rent it. You can oftentimes sell that property or rent it before it's ever even done. But if you're just rehabbing it, they think an owner occupied is rehabbing it. They don't think an investor's rehabbing it. And so they're just driving by it. Put a sign in the yard that this is coming soon, with a number to reach you at, or whoever takes your calls for you. You can obviously oftentimes sell it or rent it before it's ever even completed, which saves you a ton of time. Facebook Marketplace listed on there if you are brave enough. And then social media. Have a large social media following, build one so that you can sell properties faster or get more eyes on your business, your projects, and your flips. Tips and tricks. I think this is the end. Contingencies. Always have these built in, both time and money. If you think you're going to borrow the money for 6 months, you tell the lender a year. If you think it's going to take you 4 months to rehab it, you count on 6 months. If you think that contractor is going to cost you $5,000, have $1,000 built in. If you think the total project is going to cost you $50,000 to rehab it, put $60,000 down. Always have contingencies built in, both your timelines and your money. You will need them in this game. Build a system. If it's repeatable and you're doing it manually every time, build a system out of it. Track and file everything. Every single thing should go into an organized folder with a date, title, type, and the project title, obviously. Sorry, title or name of project, whatever you want to name it. Everything gets a folder around it. Before photos, after photos, and all that goes into one folder for that house. The budget, who we borrowed from, the total breakdown, what the numbers are going to look like. All that's in one folder for every house. Stay organized. This is where I see too many people drop the ball in general in business, not just in this. But if you're not an organized individual, you don't have a system and process down, you're going to lose money, 1000% guaranteed. Pay for dependability. You find somebody good, you hold on to them and you pay them more. Give you an example of this. I have a great partnership down in Fayetteville. I fund all the deals. They flip them. They've always kept their word. Yesterday, I'm on the phone with them, and he said his phone's broken, so he's actually on his phone just broke. All right, so he's on the phone with his girlfriend's phone, and he's like, "Man, I just can't pay this new for these new phones. They're too expensive." As soon as I got off the phone, took me less than 5 minutes to realize I should cash app him $1,000 to go buy a new iPhone. Make that investment all day, every day. Pay for dependability. Stay humble. This game, the first 2 flips go perfect. Let's buy 8 more. No, don't do that. You better go slowly, okay? Good accountant and bookkeeper. Again, this just goes back to the team. Give you a quick flip example to show you a Facebook ad. We bought this for $30,000. Owner called us up, didn't want it anymore. We bought it for $30,000 as is, exactly how you see it here. All we did was change the locks. We did nothing else to it. We didn't even clean it. We sold it 30 days later for 70. We made $34,000 off one Facebook ad. It works.